Does baking a cake multiple times make it taste even better, or does it basically ruin dessert? Let's find out. That's right, today we are testing 3 different methods with the same flourless chocolate cake, which is actually more like a brownie, to see which one comes out on top. This actually came about the other day when I found a recipe for double baked chocolate cake. You see, look at that there. So you've kind of got like this crust on the outside, then it's like fudgy middle, all right? So it's a pretty simple recipe. To make it, you need 5 ingredients. Good quality chocolate, some butter, cocoa powder, sugar, and eggs. I just bought 24 eggs. And this isn't my first rodeo. I've made one of the flourless ones before, and they are much more like brownie-like. I think they're just borderline a cake. But for me today, it's more about going, right, let's make the basic one. Let's try this double-baked one, which sounds phenomenal. And then try the triple one just to see if, well, it doesn't end up being a chocolate rock. It very well could. So yes, behold our landscape of wonderful ingredients. Let's get going with the single bake cake. I like the sound of that, yeah. Single bake cake, let's go. All right, so the dark chocolate chips, I've gone for some good quality ones. So that was 240 grams of butter. I was talking to someone on our Patreon Discord about this game show in Germany where you have to literally cut something perfectly in half. I think I'd fail at that based on this. Oh, wow. We're gonna get this melted. Oh, you oily chocolatey mess. Shove that in a mug to someone and that is gonna be a very luxurious hot chocolate. All right, eggs now. I've got 2 bowls here. The larger one is gonna be for the whites. We need 7 egg whites, 7 yolks. And folks, with all that excitement, it's time to welcome an old friend. Ding, 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 ding. Yes, head whisk. Your nest is now in my garden kitchen. You're a whisk, Barry. So, egg yolks and sugar. Head whisk on a fairly low speed. That is a very cool color. Apparently, the process of beating sugar into egg yolks is a technique known as blancheur in French pastry making. Helps for aeration and lightness. So it's driving the air in that's making it pale. The trapped air helps create a lighter, more tender cake. The sugar dissolving in gives it a smoother texture and prevents graininess. Creates a stable batter and contributes to a moist, well-structured cake. That's pretty interesting. Well, translation, this is going to be quite a delicate sponge. Okay, so we can pour the chocolate mixture in now. Oh, wow. All right, so nice clean bowl for the egg whites, nice clean whisks. All right, so soft Tim Peaks is fine. Adding in some sugar a little bit at a time. Trying to get a little bit on the board as well. Very important step, folks. All right, so I'm happy with the meringue, and head whisk did its best job whisking it together, but this is where a spatula will come in. It looks like we've made a little bit of a millionaire's shortbread in a bowl there. Like you've seen before, I'd always use a spatula. I just find it really fun. Just like a windscreen wiper for your bowl. So what we want to do now is take some of the meringue and dollop it in and fold it through. Driving the air in it as well. There wasn't enough space in that bowl, so I've just tipped it into this bigger one. And I love it because you can really see the foaminess of it. Right, there we go. With every fold, it's getting darker and we're at a nice consistent color there. I'm loving like the air bubbles bursting as we do it. That's looking pretty good. Set in the oven to 180°. So we might, and I know we have to do this with a double one, but with the triple one, I might even actually just slightly lower it. That's a bit of a bodge. The only thing that's getting me through this is chocolate cake. While the oven's preheating, we've got a 20 centimeter loose bottom tin. Mrs. B and I actually do this thing where this one actually's got like ridges on it. So when you try, even though we're gonna line it with paper, try and like lift the thing out. It sometimes catches, so we normally turn it over. However, I like to live dangerously. So let's just use our butter as a bit of a crayon. Oh, and another thing I like to do, I think I just did this naturally, and I thought, oh, I better show you guys with a loose bottom tin. If you've got some baking parchment like that and you want to shape it easy, just stick that in there, like that, to give it like a bit of a mould. Put it back in, stick that in, and you've kind of got that shape made for you. That works really well, and I'm terrible at lining pans. All right, the oven is nearly ready. Look at this batter. That is a lot, isn't it? Oh my word. Okay. Yeah, I almost like don't want it to rise at all now. I might regret doing this one-handed. Oh my gosh, get in there. Now, with this being the one bake cake, that goes in there for a whopping 40 minutes. In the past, when I've done it before, I've had to push it even more than that. So maybe the twice baked thing is a really cool way of getting around it, but we'll come on to that in a bit. I'll see you in about 3/4 of an hour where hopefully a skewer will come out clean. It's really delicate. Like this side here, it wants to fall away. There's some actual like slightly like darker patches as well. But that's the problem with the one bake thing. When you make them that big, you really do have to push that cooking time. And I haven't skewered it yet. Oh, okay. As it cools, I mean, it's fairly set. It looks like a big puffed up chocolate mushroom. This actually gives me hope for the second bake more because we're gonna cover that top. If you're wondering why there's no cocoa powder in it, I've actually reduced it down to just 4 ingredients now because when I made it before, this was exactly how it was. But that time I took it out way too early. So I think if I made the one bake again, maybe for the last 10 minutes, some foil on top, but you really don't wanna disturb that rise. But let's let this cool and see what it's like. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I mean, the color on it, it's just passable. If we were just doing a video on this cake, I would definitely rebake it with some foil on. But I've definitely eaten worse than that. And that might have been at some of my kids' birthday parties. Oh, it's so delicate. Yeah, sorry about the awkward looking slice. It's not the most prettiest looking thing, but this is what I wanted to show you. That you've got the crust going all around the edges and the sides and slightly in from the crust, more cooked. And as you get down, this is what you're after. You're trying to get that fudgy base. But on a double baked one, apparently you're supposed to get that at the top. That's good. Oh. It's borderline a cake, our one bake cake, but in isolation, if I had to have that, I would blooming love it. It's absolutely delicious, melt in the mouth, airy. The chocolate flavors are intense, but I've been here before. I knew what I was gonna expect. Almost mousse-like vibes, but we're not here for that. Yes, the double baked version of that cake. What we're looking for, hopefully, is kind of like the opposite. You know how it was kind of like more fudgy souffle-like at the bottom and the top was more baked? With this one, because we're baking it in 2 parts, I'm thinking the bottom is going to get more cooked and crisp and more sort of textured, and then the top being that sort of more fudgy souffle-looking thing. So we're sort of forcing an imbalance of textures with this. If we can get like a more of a chewy kind, maybe not cookie base yet, I'm hoping that with the triple one, but like maybe more caramelization going on, matching to that sort of softer top. Less batter up again. So just like before, the same amount of ingredients. Chocolate and butter melted. There we go. Cracking the eggs. Oh my word. So we've got a nice big bowl now where we can just work that in. And yep, that's going into the same old tin, might as well. I'm gonna just do this roughly by eye. I'm gonna put 50% of this mixture in. And remember, we've poured the first amount in. It's the same amount of quantities. I am gonna change the cooking time though, but look at this. That really looks like it wants to take over the pan. So let's just like level it out a little bit. So in it goes, and that to me with like rising agents in it, if the batter was that high, I wouldn't mind because it would rise, but then we've seen what it did when it was a whole amount of that mix, which is just sat here waiting. In about half an hour, this is gonna join the party. Again, if anything exciting happens, I'll let you know. So this is a picture of the recipe we're making, and is it just me, or does this slice look more like the recipe that we just did with the one bake? Like, I'm expecting the fudgy bit to be near the top because this bit will be baked more, but that photo, unless it's upside down, is telling me otherwise. Yeah, because look, that's risen up already. That almost looks like it's got the same amount of batter in. But as we know, it hasn't. Well, at least there's going to be 2 stages of batter in it. And that has really got me thinking now about the triple baked idea. We're not there yet. Let's see what this turns out like. Okay. Oh, now that is looking like browned already on the top as well. Like really deeply browned. Right. Oh, I'm so tempted to cover it in foil, but then that won't be fair, will it? I do see a glimmer of hope though, and that is the form of that crack there underneath there. You see how it's still not fully set there. So what we do, apparently, is to create, I guess, a kind of crater. That is really not enough for this batter to go in. I'm convinced of that. Okay, so we aim for the middle. Let's just see how much this fills up. It could be deceptive. If not, I'm actually gonna go over the tops again to cover that crust that's already formed. That might be a smart idea actually. Oh my word, this is crazy. But it's so warm that it could spill off the sides. All right, It's almost like starting all over again. Another half an hour in there, so we will just see what that does. At least we'll get a sense. I'm actually really fascinated now to see what that turns out like, but I gotta wash up. I've just had a look at it. I've got a couple more minutes to go, and it looks absolutely insane. It's almost like that first bake has given foundations for it to be even higher. There we are. Absolutely ginormous cracks in the top, but look, as I come down, look how high that is. That's crazy. Remember, that has been in the oven for an hour in total, over 15 minutes longer than the original cake. But I can see gooiness. It needs to completely cool down. So I really hope this shrinks down, but at the same time, if it doesn't, will the third one be even higher because it's just baking cake on cake? And to give this the proper cool down it deserves, I'll go get another cake tin and we'll start on the triple baked cake. So the triple baked cake, we still don't really know what the double baked cake looks like yet, and I was kind of basing the whole concept of this video on that theory working. On that double one, I did take the temperature down 10 degrees when we added in that second batter, but for this one, 3 separate ones. I'm kind of hoping for like a chewy base, a dense middle, and maybe a gooey top with still a crust, because it's inevitable we got to get that. You've already seen me make this batter, so that is another big old batch there. A fresh tin lined. Boston is very keen. Do you like cake? So here we go, a third of the batter at first. I think whatever happens today, and I feel like I say this a lot, I've had fun. I'm always learning. That's the whole point of my channel. I'm laughing and learning. The kitchen is my playground. I got chocolate all over my jeans. His nose is going. Let's see if this has all been worth it. All right, first bake's done. And it's actually kind of flat, like a well-browned cookie. This has got potential. So I've just lowered the oven by 10 degrees. I'm just gonna encourage this down, but it has come away from the side slightly, so some of the batter could lip over. Oh, this feels so confusing. But that's another third in. Oh, blimey. It has puffed up massively there, but actually that is quite spongy, but we're not done yet. There is going to be crust baked on top of crust with another crust on top, isn't there? Look at that heat coming out. Oh my word. The final layer. So I've dropped the oven down a touch. 170 now. But for one last time, we're not sure about this. So the cracks have come back a little bit. However, I don't mind. I know they will settle down. It depends how much this one levels out compared to the other two though, but I've given them both a solid hour at least. Well, I mean, the first one's had about 4 hours. So to be fair, it's 4:30 in the afternoon. It's been a heck of a day. Let's let this cool fully, line up the slices alongside each other and have a taste. So this is the second one where the crust has effectively been baked twice in some areas. Don't know how well it's going to slice. Oh, it's gone in well. Ooh. Wow. Again though, look, you've got the fudginess at the bottom. So look, you've got the crust on the top and the outside, and then it actually looks like it's more cooked through on the top and more fudgy down the bottom, just like their photo, but completely against the theory of it. So if that's the case, our triple baked one might be even more fudgy at the bottom. And here is our cooled triple layer bake. You can see it's gone nice and flat again. Now I've got to say, the smell of this, it really, really does smell caramelized. Really like foam-like again. You burst through that papery crust. But also quite solid at the same time. It's very strange to describe. Oh my word, look at that. That's crazy. You've got that crust outer, then the first batch, which is fudgy. It's almost like it's seeped down. A next band that's slightly more baked, and then this top part with the crust, really dense, even though it had the least amount of baking time. So I'll line them up now, but honestly, the smell of these ones, the other two were quite similar, like a really deep caramel smell. So single baked cake looking very fudgy indeed. The second one, a lot more going on there, but the surprise thing for me still is the fudgy layer being at the bottom, and we can see with this one, like the different elements going on in there, but also way more dense. Especially compared to the first one, that's like major fudgy, whereas that's kind of like in between the two, which would make sense because, well, it's been a whole day of baking. One of these is a single baked cake. The other one is a double baked cake. The other one is a triple baked flourless cake. In fact, it's 4 ingredients.
Wow.
All right.
Chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Can I guess?
Yeah, you can guess.
Okay, I think that's 1, 2, 3.
Why do you think that's 3, 2, 1?
Because of the colour of the top.
Okay.
I don't know why.
All right. I see why, because you're looking at the...
Oh, no. I changed my mind when I look at the... Oh, I can see different layers. Especially in this one.
Hmm.
Oh, okay, now I'm not sure.
Right, so the best thing is to have a taste.
Yes. Oh, soft. It's quite brownie-like.
Very fudgy.
Oh, that's really light. Okay. That's even lighter. Oh, I like that one. That's really, really like, almost like a mousse.
I actually said it was like that earlier.
Did you?
Yeah.
I say I have not been out here at all.
No, she hasn't.
This is even lighter.
Okay.
Okay. Oh. Okay. I'm going to change my mind.
You would be right to change your mind.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yes!
I couldn't be bothered to switching round. Yeah. that has got a chewy crust on it, hasn't it? That's what I wanted.
Gosh, that's really strange how you can... They taste so different, but so similar at the same time.
Same 4 ingredients. It bakes slightly longer. Lowered the temperature with that one, but then, yeah.
I think number 2 is my favourite.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, with the triple one, yeah, it's very nice like that. I mean, ultimately, there's nothing wrong with that. But what I wanted to achieve, like this sort of, that's like a chewy crust to it, right? Like it's sort of like, almost like a mild, like toffee. But you're right. I think visually, you just nailed it straight away. It's like, oh, okay. But that's where the different layers, as we baked it, that was baked one, then you top it up and top it up. Same with this. And that was just in once. And it was like, hey, I'm done.
Yeah.
If you had to rank them for taste.
Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
This is more like a brownie.
Yeah, it's just like a fudge brownie. You get that hit, but there's more texture in that. And for what I really wanted to achieve, I think that was my favourite just because I've been here all day.
Oh my gosh. That's still amazing.
It is, isn't it? That's the throw up between that. That took 40 minutes to bake, an hour, nearly 90 minutes.
I just have to try one more time.
But that forming of the crust on that has truly worked. There is a real chewiness to that, where it's been triple baked. You get the denseness, you get the fudge bits. That's just all fudge, and then that's kind of maybe like a nice little hybrid. I really enjoyed this. We've got a lot of chocolate cake to eat.
Yes, we do.
So, I mean, in a way, my triple baked cake experiment has worked. Like, it genuinely has worked. I mean, there were some times in there earlier when I was a little worried, just rocking back and forth on my own, going, what the heck am I doing with my day? But we've been here before. I would eat all 3 of them. If I wasn't baking them, I would prefer to be the 3rd one because of all the depth and like, it's just so many different layers to it, my personal opinion. I think as a whole, if I was the one baking them, I'd go for the like one bake thing. But I really am fascinated by this. I can't believe the experiment has worked. The triple bake, all the different textures and flavours. I'm loving it. That's awesome.
It is cool how you can see the layers in the triple baked one.
And when you first walked in visually, you were like, oh, okay, the triple baked one because it had the least bake. And the selling point of this recipe was that you had the fudgy bit on the top for the double one, which was your favourite, right?
Yep.
But you didn't get that. The actual, and if anyone knows why that is, maybe it's just science and it just settling to the bottom. But as you add more layers, you would expect that to be the fudgy one.
Ultimately, they're all tasty.
They're all tasty. That is a lot of chocolate cake there. So if you enjoyed this and you want to see some other ones, if you've got some ideas for other versions of this, brownies probably too similar, I suppose. They are actually like brownies. But I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. It's been a lot of fun in my garden kitchen playground today. Oh yes. Time to walk the dog and have an apple. Bye. I really enjoyed this. So, I mean, some people will probably hate it and not understand why I wanted to get so excited about chocolate cake. And as I say that out loud, I can completely agree with them.